Okay guys, good morning. And this morning I want to talk, it's probably not going to be a popular subject and video probably won't get a lot of hits, but for the boater that's looking at a boat like this right here, this particular boat is a 45-foot SeaRay, and it has twin diesel engines in it and a bow thruster. And this boat is 45 feet long, probably overall length, and it's 50 feet because we're in a 50-foot slip here, and it takes up all of 50 feet. And so in this video today, I want to discuss a couple things, but one is the factor of how long does it take to be able to operate a boat like this and safely put it in its slip. And the reason I'm going to go with this particular topic here is because I think a lot of people buy these boats, especially these big boats like this, with expectations that you can just drive it like a regular, you're just going to be able to do it. And the reality is you're not. This boat right here, this is my professional opinion, would take somewhere around 200 hours of actual boating time with twin screws to be able to just walk into this boat and throw it into the slip without any problems at all. Now that sounds excessive and it sounds like a lot, but how did I come up with that number? Well, I came up with that number because after completing America's Great Loop, I did the loop with with two different twin engine boats, and I really didn't call myself captain in the beginning because I didn't really know what I was doing, and I don't want to say I got lucky because I did prepare myself. You guys, even on my earlier videos, you saw me, we were out there to the fuel dock every single weekend, every Saturday, every Sunday. I would pull it out to the fuel dock, I'd take it for a little ride. That was prepping Loop Princess, and she was a twin screw. I am a single screw. I've always owned single screw. I could do anything with a single screw trawler. That was my previous trawler that I owned, and I had no problems with it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to captain one this weekend in the Christmas light parade, so I'm excited about that. I haven't driven one in a long time. Now I'm all about the twin screws. But on America's Great Loop, it took me, and you can see right here, this is my boat right here next to what we call the Goldfinger Boat right here. But this is a 50-foot trawler here with twin Ford Lehman engines in it. And when I first got in it, the first experience I got with it, it was pretty much open bay crossing, but getting it into the marina there and in tight quarters, I was not able to back this boat into the slip. And right now you see it pulled forward in there, but typically I always, when we're on the loop, I always back the boat in. It's as easy for me now to back it in as it is pulled forward. But I learned that day that it's going to take some time, and one of the reasons I brought Pete with me on America's Great Loop when we made the transformation to this boat right here was for the simple fact that we went from a 18,000 pound boat to a 50,000 pound boat. We went from 35 feet to this thing's 50 feet length overall, from the very front of the pulpit to the very back of the thing. It's a 50-foot boat all day long. And you got double the weight, double the size. It moves slower. It's a little bit harder to maneuver. And I really wanted to get adjusted to the boat before I just said goodbye to Pete, Chief, as we called him in the videos. And me and Bev both agreed, that this is a lot of boat for us to handle. Same thing with the Goldfinger Boat here. That's what I call it. We call it the Goldfinger Boat. It's just a lot of boat to handle. So the reason I come up with this 200 hours is because that's about what I feel it took me comfortably to get used to having a twin screw. Like, I can make this boat dance. And same thing with this. I could just easily make the transformation from this boat over to this boat. But that took over, the America's Great Loop is 600 hours of boating. So you dock somewhere around 150 to 200 times. You'll have different dockings, marinas, at anchorages, at wherever. So my point is that if you buy one of these boats, number one, you should check yourself out. You should hire a captain or a deckhand, somebody who knows what they're doing with this boat, has can capably handle this boat and has those kind of hours behind them to back them. And the reason I'm telling you that, because if you get in the boat with somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing, they're not going to help you. They don't know what they're doing. So you really need a good licensed captain with lots of hours under his belt. A captain that's completed the loop. You know that he has probably 600 to 700 hours under his belt, and he's done hundreds of dockings. And it's probably not a bad place to start, but there's a lot of good captains. Not all of them, very few of them actually completed the loop. But and this isn't about America's Great Loop. It's just getting those hours and feeling comfortable with the boat. So if you're buying a boat like this, what's the first thing you should do? The first thing you should do is, the previous owner, which could have been a boater and he could not have been a boater. You don't know that. But somewhere down the line, you really need to reach out and get a licensed captain and have him take you out that first time or first couple times. Make sure you're comfortable docking the boat before you bring all your friends in. This is a perfect example of what happened last weekend. This boat got prepared. They took it out. The owner took it out. God bless him. I'm not going to use names or anything like that, but they took the boat out. He had all his friends on the boat, and as he was leaving the marina, I looked over at one of my fellow boaters, Matt, actually, in the Bertram 42. I said, Matt, this could be a little bit of an issue when he goes to pull the boat back into the marina. Well, when me and Danielle, my daughter, went to a movie, and then we called Beverly on our way back home, and anyway, long story short is this Goldfinger Boat right here is, I'll show you. It's basically over in that wall right there. And if you look real closely, you can see that white scar on the thing there, and you can actually see some of the denting on the boat right here. He hit the wall pretty hard. And that's when I found him, when I come running back to the marina, that's where we found him. And he was in pretty rough shape. Now, he had just been out all day with his buddies, and they were all having a good time. And, unfortunately, he thought he could handle this boat, and he does have some boating experience, because typically you're not going to buy a boat like this without any experience. But he did have some boating experience. He just didn't have enough to be operating a boat like this. And so, the boat's up against the wall, and there's no way he's going to in the slip. Now, I offered to him, and I was very nice to him. I just said, look, it's up to you. It doesn't matter to me, but if you want me to put the boat back into the slip, I have no problem doing that for you. So but I have 600 hours, of recent time with twin screws. I don't even have a thruster on my boat. So a thruster even makes it easier. But I literally, and I don't have, because again, we're not trying to knock anybody. I'm not trying to say anything good or bad. I'm just trying to tell you that, if you don't have the experience, if you don't have, you should consider hiring a captain. I pulled this boat in there first try, like I had driven it my entire life, and the only reason I could do that is having all of those hours under my belt. That's the only reason. If I had, if I had 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 hours, it would be questionable. And how many dockings have you done? And because you've got to allow for a lot of different things. There's a lot of things going on when you're docking a boat. You got wind, current, boat length, speed, everything. How tight it is in the marina, which way you can go, which way you can't go. There's a lot of things going on, especially, and when you're inside the boat and you're at the helm of the boat, everything looks really, really tight. There's nothing that doesn't look tight when you're up there, at the driver's seat trying to maneuver a boat, especially in tight quarters. Like, if you look right here at this dock right here, and I'm going to show you. So these slips right here are 50 feet long. That's a 50-foot slip. And between here and there is probably around no more than probably, I don't even think that's 100 feet. It'd be really close. It'd probably a little bit less than 100 feet if we were to measure it. I'll measure it one day just to do it, but let's just call it 100 feet. But if you're taking up 50 feet of that, maneuvering your boat, then you only have 25 feet in the front and 25 feet in the behind you, and you got to turn the boat around and then get it back into the slip without touching anything. And you've seen a couple of these the videos that I do with the drone footage there, hallelujah, he come very close to kissing the front of the boat over there. But he knew what he's doing. That's an experienced captain. He knew his limitations and stuff like that. But it's just, I mean, you've got to seek and ask for help, in my opinion. You've got to go to find that experienced boater. It doesn't have to be a licensed captain. It should be, but it doesn't have to be. It could be, just a really good friend that has, all this boating experience, and you trust him and you know his capabilities. That would be a good person to try. But my point is that when you buy one of these, I call it the Goldfinger Boat, but when you buy one of these big boats, man, that's a lot of boat to handle. And you really should have some guidance, and you should go out with somebody that knows what they're doing that first couple of times. In my opinion, for you to truly handle this boat, you should have somewhere, before you even step up to this boat, you should have, right at that 200 hours of boating experience, and that's your personal boating experience. So it takes a few years to get up there to do that. Now, when you live on your boat full time like I do, it goes fast. 200 hours, 2 weeks for me. Just joking though, but on the loop, you know what I'm saying? It definitely, your time adds up much faster, especially when you get out there and do it. If you're just that weekend boater, you come out here, once a month or once every 6 months. Unfortunately, most of these boats just sit in the marina and nobody ever touches them. And a lot of these boats, even in this marina right here, a lot of these boats have private captains on them. They call. Typically, the price of a private captain is about $400 a day for a decent for a captain. I'm going to say decent captain. A big dollar captain's probably around five and a quarter a day, and then a good deckhand is anywhere between $125 and $250 a day. Those are just giving you some prices on what like a good captain will make. So, and it sounds like a lot of money, but a lot of these guys will do half days, and full days, or just take you out for an hour or two. It's up to you. But it's something you should consider when buying or purchasing one of these big boats, and then trying to take it out. Especially if you're gonna, when you want to show off to your buddies, show off to yourself first and get it right first before you take your buddies out. And then it'll save you that experience of that all your friends seeing you, that you don't know what you're doing and you shouldn't have been out there, and it just makes for a much better boating experience when you get the experience to be out there and boat. All right, guys, I'm gonna end this video just by simply saying that if you want to be out here on the water and you want to impress your friends, take some lessons. That's all I'm going to say. Know what you're doing. Don't treat this any different than, if you went out and bought a brand new home, you're going to go through the inspections and all of the stuff. When we learned to drive a car, it was the same principles. We had lots of hours of driving a car, and that's on a hard road. That's not on a slick surface. The equivalent of driving a boat is like driving a car on ice. If you can master that, then yeah, you can drive a boat with no problem at all. But driving a boat, there's a lot to it. You do need some experience with it, and especially if you're going to buy one of these big boys right here, and take your buddies out, get a few hours, get a little practice in there. Anyway, live life with no regret. I do, and don't be afraid of it, man. You get out there. The only way you're going to learn is to get out there and do it, but maybe do it with some help. Just ask your neighbor for some help, and I'm sure you'll get it. Anyway, peace out. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Bye.